Hello everybody. I think I've managed to sort it out. I think. And I just need somewhere to put it. Right, hang on. Just looking for somewhere to put the phone. Just bear with me one sec. Oh, hang on. Somebody did tell me how to do this. Right, we're getting there. Are people finding us, Christopher? There were a lot of people on, but I don't think they found the new stream, which I think is the problem. Now, right, let's see if we can do it like that. That looks all right, doesn't it? Bit bright though. Little oversaturated one thing, or overly light one thing. Isn't it better if I spin it round there? Oh, right, that's it. That's better now. Yes, people can sort of see now. Hello to everybody. Welcome to Andy Shed Live for this Sunday. Don't ask me what day it is. Don't know. I'm not in front of my computer. We're doing this a little bit differently today because we are broadcasting to you live straight out to YouTube, not via the normal computer that we're using, because we've had a few technical issues, shall we say. Dominic's here, Christopher's here. Who else have we got here? Chat. Yeah, Wesley's here. People are appearing. Christopher says he did his longest YouTube video 2 weeks ago, steam train rides. Wesley says that's better, Andy, the right way around now. Yes, yes. Technology, you know, it'll never catch on, this technology. Dominic says I've got sound. Wesley says some of my comments disappeared. I don't think they were conversational. Are you on Top Chat, Wesley? That might be why your comments disappear. Go on live chat, and then you should get all your comments if you're on live chat. I'm just going to put this somewhere else where it's a bit less washed out. Is that better? That's better, isn't it? But I can't hold it there. Yeah. Where can I put this where it actually works better? It's very, very washed out, the imagery. It's because there's a fluorescent light in this room and it's not very good. I must take it down and do something else with the lighting in this room. Get rid of the fluorescent. Actually, I could put this light on, then maybe turn the fluorescent one off. Shall we see what? Let me put. Hang on, I've got to reach over here just a sec. Right. Now, does that improve the situation any? Has that made it any better? Yes, it has, hasn't it? That's made it better, I think. Dropping things on the floor now. Oh, what I dropped on the floor. Bezel fixing ring. I've got quite a few of them here. If you're wondering what this is, sorry, things about that. If you're wondering what this is a big stack of telephone cases down the side of the screen there. But yeah, that's better. That's better with the light, isn't it? It's a little bit more sensible now. Have all the comments disappeared? Oh, there we are. Dominic says that's a lot of 700 series cases. It is, Dominic. It's a hell of a lot. Yeah, the comments disappear though. They vanish off the screen. They don't stay on the screen. How do you make the comments stay on the screen? Does anybody know? Christopher says, I got my new GEC 711 wall phone in grey. Don't drop it, Christopher. Wesley says, Andy, do you have any spare 746 cases? Ha, ha, ha. Yes, I do, as it happens, Wesley. Yeah. Would you like to see? That's not a very flattering shot, is it? Hang on, let's see if I can turn this around. Yeah, 746 cases. And a few 706s on the top, but most of them are 746s. There you go. Right down to the ground. If anybody wants any 746 cases in ivory, I'm your man. Well, hang on, that's the wrong way around. Now that's better. Yeah, so if anybody wants any 746 cases in ivory, yeah, I'm your man. And before you ask, as far as I know, they're pretty much all Mark II cases. I think there were either one or two Mark I cases among them, but they're generally all Mark IIs. That. So we thought we'd come from the loft today, so you could see what's going on up here. Wesley says that's an impressive haul. Christopher says try filming a video with yellow fluorescent light in background. I'd rather not, Christopher. Fluorescent lights don't seem to work very well on video. Dominic says that's a lot of 700 series. Yes, it is. It is. It's rather a lot. Yes. So here we are in the loft where all sorts is happening. Dominic says it's strange that Mark I 746 cases seem fairly common on eBay. I wonder if sellers are skewing the actual proportions. I don't know. They are relatively common. You know, because 746s are relatively common. But and there are some amongst these. Like I said, I think there were 2 or 3, but these were all cases that came to me as a job lot anyway. They came to me from somebody who recased telephones, from a dealer who recased them, who put those funny colour cases on. You know, when you see him with an orange case or a bright blue case, well, it was him. Or one of the people that did that. And these are the cases that he'd taken off. which is why they're generally all ivory, few grey ones, but most of them are ivory, because they were the commonest colour, and they're the phones that he couldn't sell with the original cases on. So he put funny coloured cases on them, and these were all thrown outside, and then he put them all on eBay as a job lot. And I think I paid, was it £1 or was it £10 I paid for them? And I went and picked them all up out of his garden. They were under a tarpaulin in his garden, and and I went and picked them up, and it was, I think it was last winter. Was it last winter or the winter before? And it was snowing, and they were covered in snow, even though they were under the tarpaulin. But yeah. Chris says, do you know, Andy, if a 711 war phone could have a Diacon handset? It's possible, but it's unlikely, Christopher, because the war phones, the 711s, and then later the 741s, I don't think they came out until Diacon was kind of on the way out. Diacon cases were on the way out around about 1963, 1964. That's when ABS cases were coming in, and I think that's about the same time that the war phones came out. So a war phone as built would probably not have had a Diacon handset. Almost certainly would not have had a Diacon main case, but could theoretically have had a Diacon handset if they were using up old stock, but I think it's unlikely. So I think the answer to that is, if it's as built, no. They probably shouldn't have a Diacon handset. Wesley says, check the code, Christopher. I think Diacon is 12. Yeah, I think it is, Wesley. It says, yes, Wesley, I have 12 on the handset. It may be Diacon then. You can normally tell Diacon because it looks different. What colour is it, Christopher? Is it a grey one? Is it an ivory one? Or is it a black one? It'll be one of those three. Let us know what colour it is. And yeah, Diacon you can normally tell. Have I got anything that's Diacon here that I can easily get at? I mean, it probably wouldn't show up on video though. But when you look at it and the plastic is clean, when you've polished it, ABS plastic is coloured plastic. You're looking at the surface. With Diacon, it's almost more like coloured glass. It's not really translucent, but it gives that impression of being translucent a little bit. It's a bit like, you know, when you see a really well looked after car, when you go to maybe a car show or something, you see a custom car and it's really highly polished, and it's got like a deep shine to it because it's so highly polished. That's how Diacon is, and it stays that way. It doesn't go dull or anything, Diacon, and that's how Diacon is. You can kind of see a depth to the shine that you can't see on ABS. It's really difficult to explain, but when you see them side by side, you can instantly tell most of the time what is Diacon and what isn't. But it may be that the handset's been changed, you see, because obviously those Type 3 handsets are very, very, very easy to swap about. As I think that one had been swapped that was on that mirror phone that I had on last week. That is still in the works, by the way. I've got that completely working now, except for the fact the bells don't ring. So I do need to do some messing about with that to try and get the bells ringing. Hopefully we'll have that back on next week, and you'll be able to see the conclusion of that thrilling saga next week. But yeah, so we've got all sorts up here. This is, if there's anything you want to know about any particular given phone, now is the time to ask the question, because there's all sorts surrounding me up here. All kinds of things, including American stuff. I can just pick up a nice American 500 series here, a sort of a peachy coloured one. It probably doesn't show up very well on the video, but it's kind of a peachy colour, this. Yeah. Yeah, that fluorescent light doesn't do us any favours, does it? But yeah, this is a sort of peachy colour. It's rather nice, this one. I quite like this one. Yeah, nice American phone. One of the more recent ones that's come in, because it hasn't found a place on the shelf yet. What else have we got up here? Here's an oddball thing. This is not something that I would normally have in the collection, but it says works well. 8 out of 10, £1.50. Tone or pulse dialing. And it's a Dialatron, is it? Something a bit different, that. Let's have a look what that is. Don't know if I've unwrapped this or not. This must have come with something else. I wouldn't have bought this. It must have arrived with something else, I would think. But yeah, so there's nothing in the bottom bit of it. You can make it a wall phone, though. It will hang on the wall. But there's nothing in that bit. That's just a piece of plastic. All the workings are in the handset bit. But you can't just put the handset down. You've got to put it in the piece of plastic for that to engage. If that had been on the surface here, you could just put it on the ground and it would have engaged, but it doesn't. But there are things. Tone and pulse is selectable. ETH TLB is selectable as well. What that is: ringer, tone, recall, security, pulse, redial. Maybe I ought to plug it in one day, this, and see what it actually does. see if it does anything exciting. So yeah, Dialatron. So that's one of those. Have we got anything else a bit oddball anywhere near me? Oh, it's a book set there. A book set. I've got quite a few of these. I've got about 4, I think, of these. They come up more often than you'd expect. I got one from a car boot sale locally, complete with a tiny dial in it. This is a nice one because it's got the sort of alphanumeric dial center thing. Some of them just have numbers on the dial. This hasn't. This has got the bit in the middle with the alphanumerics on. This one goes back a bit slow. But these are immensely heavy and rubber. This is actually rubber, so it can take a knock or two. Absolute nightmare to work on because you have to sort of prise the rubber cover off. But yeah, interesting phones. You can use them as ordinary phones. Just put the crocodile clips or whatever they've got on the end onto your phone line, and away you go. So this one's got a pair of croc clips. Sometimes they have plugs on and or weird plugs, and then you have a load of different end attachments that the plug plugs into. So yeah, a butt set, and then we've got all sorts of bits and pieces. Cable, new roll of telephone cable, 4 pair, I think it is that 4 pair telephone cable. Yeah, you name it, we've got it up here. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Right, why does the chat keep disappearing? Dominic says, were there any clone war phones, or were they all upside down ones? Maybe a clone one would be more likely to be Diacon. I don't think a clone one would have been Diacon, because I don't think they made them until after they stopped using Diacon. So I don't think they made them for the GPO or for anybody until after they stopped using Diacon. Were there any clone war phones, or were they all upside down 706s? That's a good question. I think in Australia there were, because I think Christopher's got one that was used on the railways, but I'm not sure about in the UK. Oh, Ian Smith's here. He says, this is a reminder to get a move on and start repairing my GPO phones. He says, I go through phases. Yeah, me too, Ian. Me too. You have to be in the right frame of mind to repair stuff, I find. Christopher says, he rode in the guards van of the steam train. Cool. Chris says, can I show a Panasonic 616 PBX? Ian says, were you a telephone engineer, Andy? Or is it a hobby? It's a hobby, Ian. I was never a telephone engineer. I bought one telephone. It was a yellow 746, I think, at a car boot sale, probably less than 10 years ago. And now there's hundreds of them. But yes, it is just basically a hobby that has grown out of all proportion. I then started selling a few through an antique centre, but it wasn't very profitable. So I started doing YouTube and showing other people how to repair phones rather than me repair them for them through the antique centre. And actually, the money is probably about the same. It doesn't make a vast amount of money, YouTube, because I'm not a particularly big YouTuber. But basically, it lets me buy about a phone a month. That's what it does. Christopher wanted to see a 616, didn't he? Are there any up here? Right. So it'll be tricky because there ain't much room to move about up here. I can show you a PBX that's not a 616. I can show you what is it? It's a Mini Master, a Telecom Mini Master 3, because there's one of those on the side of this desk here that powers this this thing that I use so infrequently I always forget how to use it, this telephone tester. But let me see if there is a 616 up here, Christopher. Right, I'm trying to get out now. Literally not room to put your feet on the floor. Yeah, there is, but I can't get at it. Come hither. Right. Technically, Christopher, I can show you a 616. It's down there. Yeah, it's down there. That sort of creamy coloured box down there. That is a 616, but that's about as close as I can do to getting at it because it's buried under under all these. But yeah, it is down there. The 616. But yeah, as you can see, we have got all sorts. And it goes up and up and up like that. Christopher says, yes, Andy, GEC made 711 clones for the railways in Australia and UK. Oh, they did it for the UK as well, did they? 2 GEC 711 clone war phones. Cool. So they did make them then. So there were cloned war phones. Wesley says, might you still be able to revisit the 713 pendant phone at some point, Andy? Yes, Wesley. Yes, that is almost certainly doable. What I need is space. I need some space to be able to get around. Actually, is that pendant phone in that box down there? One moment, please, as Big Clive would say. Right, stay there. I may have accidentally unburied or uncovered. Yeah, the pendant phone thing. Just a moment, because I've got to move a load of cases. There are cases and things everywhere. Can do with getting rid of some of these cases. Set. Pieces. Yeah. I've got it. Whether I can get at it, I can see it. Whether I can pick it up or not, I don't know, but I can see it. Right, it's here. The book set. Right. And now I need someone I can put it down because it's quite tricky this. Hang on. Right. The book set is not a simple thing. No, not the book set, sorry, the pendant phone. I will show it you in the box I put it in. Right. Here are the components of the pendant phone. Right, pendant phone. So you have the pendant itself. This one's a bit extra complicated because it's got a flashy light on it, this one. But that's just whatever handset you fit. So you have the pendant phone, which you have to wire to a bit of telephone cable, a bit of that, right? So I tend to use 4 pair. Some of it you have to use 4 pair for. Other bits you can get away with less. Right, there's the pendant. Right. So you can dial from it. You have to have one of these things. This is a draw dial. This fits under a desk in general. And what you do, it's hard with one hand, is it slides out. Let me put you back up here. I'll see if I can get this in my hand and do it. So another thing that has a wire to it, just one wire attached to it, is the draw dial. And the draw dial works, that fits under a desk. So if you imagine my hand is the bottom of the writing surface of a desk, yeah? So fits under the edge of the desk, and then as you're sat at the desk, you'll be pointing this way with your legs under the desk. You then pull that out like that, and it flips down like that, and that's got a dial in it. Okay? So that's how you dial on a pendant phone. Then you just lift it up again, and it springs back in. A bit like our Christ till. So you've got the pendant, and you've got the dial. Yeah, so you've got those two components. Right, again, I've got to move things so I can put them down because there's just so much stuff. So, right, let me try and untangle everything. I had to put it in a box this because there's so many blooming wires on it. It gets so tangled up. This is why I put it in a box and forgot about it. But it does work. I have had it working. I think I've had it working on an episode of this before now. Right, then the hard part is this. This is the bell set that it all connects to. And this has 3 wires going into it. It has an ordinary line cord going in, yeah, which is that one, yeah, so that's going in the bottom there. And then out of the back of it, it has the 2 wires, one of which goes to the dial and one of which goes to the handset. Because if you think about it, it's a phone in 3 parts. So you've got a remote dial and a remote handset. So this is actually the phone in here. And you just got a remote dial and a remote handset. And this is the bit I couldn't get. I could not get one of these for love nor money. So what I ended up doing was using the chassis of a 746 and doing a slight conversion on it with the wiring, and that worked. And then I realized that if you got a Bellset 50C or whatever, that was basically a 746 without the hook switch on it. So I then took the slightly converted 746 circuit board out of the 746 chassis that I'd done and put it into this Bellset 50C. So if I take the cover off this Bellset 50C, you will see it's actually got a more or less fully populated circuit board from a 746 in it, which Bell Set 50s somethings don't normally have, 50A, 50B, 50C, but this one has, because basically it's a 746 but without the sticky up bit for the hooks to go on. And then there's an absolute spaghetti mess of wiring to sort it out. But it does work. It does work. So and it does, in theory, all go back in the box as well. Right, let's see if I can now get all that back inside there. Too much trouble. Right, this is where I'm going to have trouble now putting this back together, isn't it? Oh yes, I think that's it. Right, so there you have it, you see. So that's actually got 3 wires coming out of it, 2 out the back, 1 out the bottom. So it's quite a complicated thing, one of these pendant phones, but it is doable. Well, it says, oh, yours has a neon. Yep, it does indeed. Fat Hobbit says, hello Andy, hello everyone, sorry a bit late this evening. Not to worry, Fat Hobbit, better late than never. Oh, Gambo's here as well. Hi Gambo. So yes, so that is the pendant phone. But if you want me to do more on it, Wesley, I can at some point in the future. But I ought to have this set up somewhere, really, didn't I? It's a relatively rare thing, you know. I ought to have it set up and be using it. Yeah. Dominic says, are there any bits of the radio station lurking about? The answer to that is no, Dominic, because you're at the radio station. But there are some more videos of the radio station to come quite soon. Because I have been shooting videos. I've actually been there this afternoon. Mending a professional CD player this afternoon. I've been doing. I've got this this CD player that is a Denon, I think it is. It's a professional CD player with a separate head unit, remote control head unit, and it wasn't reading CDs, and it was dirty lenses on the lasers basically. So went with a bit of isopropyl alcohol and gave them a bit of a clean, and now it's working. So yeah, I think that was probably, I think it was about 30 quid. That I think it was 30 quid well spent, that, because they often sell for about 150 quid, 200 quid though they do. So so yeah, that's working out. I'm happy with that. What I need at the moment though, if anybody sees a cheap one going anywhere, I need a 19-inch rack unit, preferably a wooden one, because most of the stuff in the studio is like wood effect, a light sort of piney wood effect. So preferably a wood one or a wood effect one, a 19-inch rack unit, you know, a standard rack unit to put things in. I've been looking for one all over the place. They're either ridiculously expensive for what they are, because they're just basically a box with no fronting. They're either ridiculously expensive for what they are, miles away, or not in very good condition, sort of thing. So if anybody's got a sort of studio type rack unit that they don't want, or that they're willing to sell for a small fee, get in touch with us. andyshed.coldpress.net, and fill in the contact us form if you don't know the email address already, that is. Right, how are we going? Well, you said it would be good to see more of the pendant phone. We'll have to do something special on the pendant phone then. Ian says, would anyone know if the early Mark 1 746s would have the fail plate with the triangles on them? I've bought one a few months back with this, but can't decide if it's original or added later. Fail plate. Oh, has your autocorrect kicked in? I think you mean the finger plate, don't you? Yeah, I think you mean the finger plate with the little triangles. The answer to that is no 746ers. No 746ers ever had anything other than the sort of silvery background finger plate with the numbers on. If it's got anything other than the silvery background finger plate with the numbers on, it's been added later. So, have I got a 746? Yes. Yeah, well, here's one. Well, that's a 706 actually, but it's got a 746 era dial on it. So, there you go. Look, silvery plate, numbers, and clear finger wheel. All 746s, and I mean every single one ever, have that dial. If you've got anything with a different finger plate or with a coloured dial that's not got the see-through finger wheel, all right, it's been messed with. They all had that. Now, where some of the early ones do differ is some of the early ones had the alphanumeric bezel on them, like these, in this bag. So, is there one out anywhere? That's the yeah, there's a red one there. So yeah, some of them have the alphanumeric bezel on, like that one there, this red one. You see, I put the handsets round this way round on, so I'm getting more on the shelf. But you see that one? That is how the 746 originally appeared. But it has got the standard dial, you see. It's not got the chevrons on it. Like on that there. I mean, that's a clone phone there, but that's a dial with the little arrows on. It's not got those, you see. So that is how they were originally. But I don't think they were all like that. I mean, that's not from 1967. I don't think they were all like that. I think it depended on what area you were. Because if all figure dialing had come in your area, you didn't get the alphanumeric bezel. So it was much more common for them to be like that, of course, without the alphanumeric bezel. So if you've got a 746 with chevrons on the finger plate or arrows on the finger plate, whatever you want to call them, yeah, that's been messed with. And it's probably not an original plate in it either. It's probably a repro one. And you can tell the repro ones quite easily when you take them apart, because the repro ones are printed on the front. They're plastic, coloured plastic, and then screen printed on the front. The genuine ones are clear plastic, screen printed with the arrows on the back, and then painted whatever colour it's meant to be. But it's all done with screen print and paint on the back of a clear plastic finger plate. So when you're dialing and you know your fingernail scraping on that finger plate, it can never scrape off the markings because it's printed on the back. And that was part of the GPO spec. When you get stuff that's printed on the surface, they're the repro ones, and they're not very good, and they do come off. So yeah, they should all be printed on the back. Dominic says, oh, that sounds interesting. A bit like the Technics one that Techmoan had. Did Techmoan have a Technics CD player? If he did, that's probably why they're so damned expensive now. It's probably the Techmoan effect. Because anything that Techmoan touches, suddenly gets a naught added on to the end of the price. Dominic says, that pendant looks like it would be perfect for the call-ins on your radio show, or maybe a trim phone, like on Swap Shop. Swap Shop was a bit interesting. Noel had an orange one, didn't he? Can you remember Noel's orange trim phone? This is a yellow one. I think Noel's was actually orange. I'm not certain. Or if it was, the cameras did something weird to a yellow one. But this is a two-tone yellow one. But he had different ones in different series of Swap Shop. But he did have different phones for different series. It changed as time went on. What's interesting about Swap Shop now, thinking about it, is those phones had no kind of indicator on them to say if there was anybody on them. Now, normally, BBC phones had the neon in the handset. They normally had things that looked a lot like a 746, but were a push-button phone, and they were grey. They were a common issue at the BBC. Like this. These were, in fact, this one could be one. But yeah, tone dialing as well. I think they were. They might have had some pulse dialing ones originally at the BBC, but these were common. And if you look very closely at Noel's desk on Swap Shop, there is also one of these on the desk. He doesn't take the calls from the kids on it, but it is there for him to talk to the gallery and that, I think. And these were in like the galleries at the BBC and behind the scenes. These were all over Television Centre. These. But you could have them not ring. I mean, this should probably, truly, if it was BBC one, have a switch in there so you could switch off the ringer, or maybe they didn't have ringers fitted or had them permanently wired out at the BBC, so they just lit up. But the trim phones that you took the calls on didn't have any kind of indicator that there was a call on those lines. So there must have been somebody talking in Noel's ear saying, pick up the orange phone or pick up the blue phone. there's somebody on the end of it. So he must have been getting cues from the gallery which phone to pick up. And often it went wrong. Often they did pick up a phone and there was nobody on the end of it. Now, in later episodes of Swap Shop, the trim phones were all grey ones, but they had dark coloured handsets. Not bright at all. They were dark handsets that were all dark colours, like a very dark muddy red, a very dark blue, a very dark, almost black green, in the later episodes of Swap Shop. But the body of the phone was all the same colour, but they had these different coloured handsets. And I think that was so the gallery could say, pick up the blue, pick up the red, pick up the green, or whatever. But look at a late episode of Swap Shop and you'll see these grey trim phones. But early on, they had coloured trim phones, and Noel had this orange one. As far as I know, orange ones didn't exist. It was before the time of the Snowden range phones. I think Swap Shop started in 77 or 78. So it was before the time of the Snowden range, the multicoloured trim phones. So I'm reckoning somebody at the BBC painted some trim phones. So those trim phones were probably not GPO. So they must have been privately supplied. And as far as I know, STC were the only people who made trim phones. So they must have been privately supplied by somebody to the BBC from STC, I would guess. And then the BBC painted them. Right, I'm just looking at the chat. Chris says the model number for the GEC clone war phone is TEL 2W/AWT. Miguel says, been getting Crystalite to work after eBay sale. Supposed to be okay, but the receiver had gone open circuit. Yes, I was a GPO engineer years ago. Got out thanks to Mrs. Thatcher. Best thing I ever did. Wesley says, Andy, what markings are on that red 746 you've just shown? What do you mean underneath it, Wesley? Dominic says there was a very subtle variation in the font weight of the numbers between manufacturers on the 746 dial finger plates. There was, there were subtle differences to the fonts between the manufacturers. Yes, that is true. It is very subtle. You have to see them side by side really to see it. But there are differences. Chris says, what model number on the black clone phone next to the red one? I'll tell you in a minute. Gambon says, hi peeps, what do you call the dial surround that holds the dial in place on the wall Bakelite phones? I have two wall phones, but one's missing and I'm not seeing anything to source. Can anyone help? Oh, not sure about that one, Gambo. I haven't got a Bakelite wall phone, so I'm not sure about that one. Right, model numbers on things. People are wanting to know model numbers. Right, let me get on the move again then. Go and see what I can. Right, the red one. We'll start with the red one. So, the red, early. 746 here with the alphanumerics. Underneath, it's a 746 GEN 71/1, and I believe 71 was about the last year that you could get them with the alphanumeric surrounds. So 1967 to 1971. But they were certainly still installing them in 1971, because there is a GPO film that shows one exactly like this, a red one, being installed on a farm in 1971. So that's 1971. Christopher wanted me get this one out. This one's in a bit of a state. This one's never been worked on or anything. Yeah. Never been restored, this one. It's just arrived and gone on the shelf. So this is a 706 clone. It's got the rather nice chromy handle as well. Plastic base, and it's an N1900 E78. So N1900 E78. And it's at least partially tropicalized, because it's got that grid on there to stop insects crawling in there. But it's not got it in the bell holes, which it should have. Lift handset and listen for dial tone. Pull dial round to stop and let go. 220. This could have been a railway phone or something like that, I would think, or a factory phone. I don't know. But it's an N1900 E78. The E78 being the bit that's variable. So it's an Ericsson phone, this. So no date on it, but there may be a date on the bits in the handset. Well, that's got a 1964 speaker in it. What's the microphone? Oh, can't get that back on now without cross-threading it. What's happening there? Oh, hang on. That's not in right. That should be round like that. So that is W641, it says on there. Right. That now fits on properly. Let's have a look what's in this end. And this has got the old variety of microphone that doesn't appear to be marked. Oh, it is marked. Hang on. It's marked on there. 13C E641 again. So W641 E641. So it's a fairly safe bet. It's from 1964, this one, I would think. Or at least the handset is. Not sure about the rest of it, but it's a fairly safe bet the handset's from 1964. So perhaps the whole phone is. It could well be. It looks right for 1964. But of course, there are the arrows that we were talking about earlier that you would not see on a 746, and also a coloured finger wheel that you would not see on a 746. Right, I shall put that back. At least I shall try to put that back without breaking my neck. I'll put the red one back as well while I'm here. Like I say, I have to turn the handsets around just so I can fit everything on the shelf. Cool. Dominic says GEC seem to have persisted with alphanumeric bezels on their clones for a few more years. Clones didn't normally have alphanumerics on, they just had numerics because they were generally on something like a PAX, you know, a private exchange, private Strowger, and it was pointless having the letters on the phones because you couldn't dial out directly. So they tended to only have numbers on. You could specify having an alphanumeric bezel on your phone from Ericsson or whoever, but they tend just to have numbers most of the time. I would say a good 90%, maybe more, only have numbers on the clones. Wesley says that's nearly the same as the red 746 I've recently got. Mine says 746 Gen 69 one, so a couple of years earlier. I was just puzzled as to why it wasn't marked 746L. I don't think a lot of manufacturers didn't mark them 746L because when the 746 came along, I think they knew that alphanumerics were going out. They knew all dial numbering was coming in, or all number dialing rather was coming in. That's what I meant to say. And so they didn't bother with the L or F anymore. A lot of manufacturers, some did, but most didn't. Christopher says, Andy, did you get the emails I sent a few days ago? Not sure, Christopher. Emails have been a bit strange for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I can't say for certain or not at the minute, and I'm not near my computer at the moment, so I can't check. But I will have a look. If you don't hear from me in the next couple of days, assume they have arrived, and I will get to them. I've got a massive stack of emails. Email is just going crazy at the moment. It's going absolutely berserk, my email at the minute. So apologies if I've not replied to you. I am gradually working through them and trying to get them sorted out. But in amongst it all, I got a new phone that messed up some of my emails as well. So so it's been a bit chaotic for the last 3 or 4 weeks with email, but hopefully we're getting there with it. Right, I think we've probably about cracked it. I've just realised I've got basically a base of a 706 here with no body on it, and it looks fairly complete, doesn't it, that? So we could make that back into a phone. And it was a CB as well. 706 CB E60/1. So that was an early one, wasn't it? Can you see that there? E706 CB. But of course it's not the CB because I've got a dial on. So when they mark CB, they don't have dials, do they? generally. So that's been put on later anyway, because that's a dial that wasn't around in 1960, obviously. So that's been put on later. But yeah, but it was refurbished in 1977 because of the yellow sticker. So that's what happened to that CB phone. So perhaps we need to return that to being a CB phone. So I should be using another dial blank. Right. We'll not do it black though, because black ones are hard to find, those dial blanks. So yeah. So I found something. This is the thing about up here. You find stuff that you forgot you'd got all the time. I really do need to go through it all, but the trouble is there's so much stuff crammed in. It's very difficult to go through it, because when you pick something up, it's very difficult finding somewhere different to put it down. So, but yeah, there's all sorts of stuff up here, absolutely all sorts. But these cases are taking up a humongous amount of space. I can see why I got them, because nobody else wanted to be custodian of them. But they are taking up a massive amount of space. So God knows what we're going to do with them. I mean, there must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 170, 200. Yeah, I'd say there's between 200 and 300 cases sort of dotted about. Mainly ivory 746 cases. There's between 200 and 300 of them, I would say. So yeah, it's a little excessive. Right. I think we've probably gone about as far as we can go today, unless anybody's got any further questions. But yeah, it looks all right. That, and I'd say hopefully normal service will be resumed again next week. I've got quite a lot of these kicking around up here. These are very good because if you get a handset with these in, these are really worth hanging on to, because these 13Cs, I mean, that one made in 1965, that one was made in 1965. I've got another one here. That one seems to have been made in 65 as well. What about this one? That one was made in 1963. But they do actually fit in candlestick phones, believe it or not. They go right back to like 150s and that. You can fit one of these into a Tele 150. It's gobsmacking the interchangeable they are. So if you get these with, that flat, that sort of flat type with a little bit on the back, you can use them in a lot of older stuff. I've got another one here. When was this one made? TBS DRC 42977F. Doesn't say. It's not got a date code on it, that one. But yeah, got quite a lot of them. 5 of them actually there. Marvellous. But I have got some candlestick phones that do need restoration, and some like Tele 150s or whatever they are, from the 20-30s ish. So yeah, they will need some restoration work doing on them. So thanks for joining me in the loft today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's something a little bit different to what we normally do. Hopefully we'll have all our technical issues and that resolved by next week, so we'll be able to go back to normal, and the chat will appear on at the side of me, like there, isn't it? Is it there where it normally appears? No, it's there where it normally appears, isn't it? Because I'm looking at a mirror image on my phone here, but yeah, it's there where it normally appears. So yes, has everything been mirrored tonight, by the way? If I show you something with some writing on, is it backwards? Because that is backwards to me. Is it backwards to you? I hate it when you see videos like that and everything's mirrored, because people haven't worked out the fact it's mirrored. I'm hoping YouTube flips it before it transmits it. But I don't know if it does or not. Right. Okie dokie. The chat seems to have stopped, so I'm hoping it's still working. But that is about it, I think, for today. Thanks to everybody for taking part again and for joining in and stuff. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, hopefully I might get some more of the radio station stuff edited over the next few days, because I think there's about either 2 or 3 episodes to come out where gradually we've been putting more and more stuff in. But yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. The place still hasn't got an internet connection into it though at the minute, so that's next on my list of things to do possibly now, get the internet connection in, and then we can really start going for it and maybe start some test transmissions fairly soon from there. And of course, when we get internet at the radio station, there is a possibility that we'll be able to do some of these live shows from there as well. So that'd be quite good, wouldn't it? But it is still happening, the radio station. It's all going forward gradually. Like I said, I've been there for a couple of hours this afternoon doing stuff, repairing a CD player and moving some stuff around and that. But yeah, it all takes time. Time is something that I don't have a massive amount of, so that's a bit of a problem sometimes, but we'll get there. Anyway, that is about that. The chat has completely stopped. Oh, that's it. Oh, I've somehow refreshed it. It says it's not mirrored. Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah. Yeah, lots of other things have appeared now in the chat. Christopher says, I've been looking at a rare Ericsson N1970B telephone on eBay, but I see none since I bought the green Ericsson N1970B myself. Gambo says, in season 7, episode 8, you had an Ericsson CB wall phone. Did I? Oh, without a dial on? In season 7? Did I? Well, it's news to me. I've totally forgotten if I've got that somewhere. Oh, was it a Bakelite one? Yes. Was it a Bakelite one, Gambo? Not a plastic one. Yes, I think it's here. I believe. Hang on. Hold your horses. Yes. Good point. Well spotted, that man. Oh. Yeah. Where's the handset? Was that the handset? Yes. Did you mean this? God, it's heavy. Did you mean this, Gambo? Complete with windy handle. Is that? Yeah, that's the one with the handle, says Gambo. Yes. Yeah. Now, what's the bit? Who was asking about a dial bezel part then? Because this is just all the centre that replaces the dial. This thing that's on here, it's all one piece. That's right. Yeah, I think it's all one piece. But yeah. Yeah, that's a hell of a thing. It is so heavy, that is. And Christopher, if you want the Ericsson number, it's an N2204AA1. N2204AA1. Can you see that? There. Yeah, so I do have Bakelite wall foam. You see, I completely forget what's here. But yeah, it's so blooming heavy. How the hell you held that on a wall, I do not know. I need to pull the wall down. Yes, you're quite right, Gambo. Yeah. Well spotted, that man. Candlesticks. Gambo says, where the dial fits, there's a metal bracket that holds the dial plate in. Yes, a metal bracket on the back with 3 prongs. There's 3 prongs on a plastic one. Don't know how it works on a Bakelite one. I'll have to have a look. I'll open it up at some point and have a look at that. Who was mentioning candlesticks a minute ago? Ian says, I'd love a candlestick. All seem expensive though. Right, Ian, I've got something to show you. I've shown this before, I think, but it never ceases to amaze me there. Here's a candlestick. Now, if you're looking for an original candlestick, this is what not to buy. Because this is not a genuine candlestick. This is a reproduction. Made yesterday, well, maybe not quite yesterday, but you know what I mean. Probably in India. But there's a difference between this and some of the fake candlesticks, shall we say, that are out there. Because this particular one is a really, really good copy. And that's why I've kept it. It came with something else. But I've kept it because it does work properly as a genuine candlestick would. You know, it's like they've used the patterns for the original phone. I mean, the giveaway that it's not real is it says there, look, English Telephone Co., London. Whenever anything like that is written on a phone, it's fairly certain that it was made recently. in somewhere other than where it says. But, and of course, the giveaway is the wires are modern on it. But it's really, really good. It's got not quite the right type of dial, but it is a proper mechanical dial, that does pulse dialing. As you can tell by the sound it makes when it comes back, it feels right. It's heavy enough to be a candlestick. I don't know what's in the handset. Let's have a look before I go. I'm interested now. But yeah, the only thing is that the cap on the handset there has not got the little cutout. So if you put it on something that way up, it's not got that cutout for the howler. But you take this off, what's inside it? There's going to be something modern in here, isn't there? Yeah, see, that's got a modern element in there. Yeah. But other than that, it's really, really good. It is as it should be. As replicas go, it's one of the better ones. Which, as I say, is why I've kept it. But it is quite a nice one, that. Massively heavy. Massively heavy. The question is, has it got an induction coil in it? Because if it's not got an induction coil in it, then there's a chance it won't. There's a chance that your speaker and that will not last very long. Let's have a quick look, shall we? See if we can find the induction coil. I can't remember if it has or not. If there is, it's going to be in the base. It's got the one screw in the middle of the base, look, just like the original ones. Ooh, and then it all falls apart. I forgot that happens. It all falls apart like the original ones. Big heavy base. And there you see the back of the dial. You see it's a proper mechanical dial in there. And of course it all comes apart like that. And if you know anything about candlesticks, you'll know that mechanism looks right inside there for what it should be. So yeah, this is a pretty good replica of a candlestick. Now, somebody just mentioned Malcolm Percival, who made quite a lot of replicas. Were his the conversation pieces ones? I think his were the ones that were branded as conversation pieces. I think they were him, weren't they? The only thing is now I can't get the thing back on the bottom because the screw is not lining up properly. It will. Give it time. There we go. Yeah, I think Malcolm Percival's. Yeah, Wesley says conversation pieces were Malcolm Percival. Yeah, I think they were generally entirely brass. But I think when he made those conversation pieces phones, somebody told me that he did use some original parts in them. Miguel said, genuine candlestick phones have always cost a bomb, even in the 60s, but are a very good investment. Better than money in the bank. They are indeed. Ian says, still looks fab. Yeah, I'm not sure where it was. I don't think this is a Malcolm Percival one. I don't think. I think his tended to be brass, but I'm not certain, or all brass. And a genuine candlestick, this black bit is not brass. This black bit is steel on a genuine candlestick. The only bits that are brass on a genuine one are this top bit, yeah, and this. But they're always blackened. They're never shiny unless somebody's taken the original finish off them. But this is quite a nice one. This phone, I quite like this. So I've not found a induction coil in it, so it would want a proper bell set like genuine candlesticks do to make it work properly. Otherwise, you've got your full line voltage. Going through and damaging your microphone and whatnot, which is not good. That's why you need the induction coil, really. So yeah, so the candlestick there. But that is basically the wiring is as they were. I have got 3 genuine candlesticks that have all been made into telephone 150s. From some were built as 150s, some were originally telephone 1s that were later rebuilt into 150s. They're all 150s now, I believe, but they're in various stages of disrepair, missing wires and things, and I do need to get them restored. And I got them, at least one of them, because it had been converted into a table lamp. So I'm converting it back because the lamp conversions were often done very badly, and it makes them pretty much valueless. So if you can get a genuine one that's been converted into a table lamp, you'll probably pay a lot less for it, and hopefully you'll be able to put it back. But you have to be a bit careful and look at them and see if you can actually if there's enough of the original phone left to work with, sort of thing. Wesley says he's sure Malcolm Percival's phones would have carried the green approved label. Yeah, I think they did, and they also had a label in the middle of the dial that said conversation pieces on it, and I think some kind of image in there as well. Was it? What's it? It's on a 50p with a trident. Oh, come on, what's it called? It's on the back of a 50p coin. Come on, I'm having a mental blank. Britannia. I think it has a Britannia on it or something, and it does say conversation pieces around on the dial label. If it's got the original dial label in it. Christopher says the Ericsson wall phone you show might be a signal box phone. It could well be. I really don't know. Must have been a strong signal box. Hang that on the wall, though. That's what I can tell you about that. Yeah, massively heavy. But yeah, this candlestick's quite nice. I quite like that. It says to call, remove receiver, listen for humming sound, pull dial around to stop, and let go number. But of course, all that is modern. It's not genuine. But yeah. But perhaps we could make a bell set for them out of the chassis of a 746. Perhaps I have to have a think about that one. How we might do that. But yeah, it's a nice phone. I like it. Right, that is about it for now. Thanks to everybody for watching once again this week. As I say, we will be back very, very soon. I shall put this back where I found it if I possibly can. So it's not staying on the desk. But yeah, we'll hopefully be back to normal next week, whatever normal is. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back to normal next week. So it really is time to sign off now after that false start a few minutes ago. Chris says he went to a signal box a week ago and he pulled the levers with permission, of course. Cool. Excellent stuff. Right. It's time for me to go and have my pizza. I will see you next week. If you know anybody that wants any ivory 746 cases, let me know. I might be able to get around there. We will see you next week. Probably back at 6:30 next week. I think, yeah, probably back at 6:30 next week. So you get an extra half hour to let your Sunday lunch go down. But we will see you next time. But for me, for now, bye-bye.